that you did in the past, you wrote adaptation of Franz Kafka, Metamorphosis. After seeing the Duke of Burgundy, it looked like it also a kind of metamorphotic subject. Where comes the idea of the butterflies to illustrate your story?
It was more like a framework. I think what fascinates me was how a lot of entomologists or naturalists were also interested in the surreal. I think if you think of, in this country, of Jean-Henri Fabre or Jean Pain, who would do scientific documents or scientific films, but with a very surrealist aesthetic. That was fascinating for me. But it's more about having these little, this image of autumn, of insects basically dying or hibernating or emigrating, and the idea of this mole cricket being locked in its tomb, the same way Evelyn is. But there's no big symbolism or metaphor. It's more about the texture. It's more about the exoticism of it, the tactile nature of the wings, and again these very, very small in-jokes with names like the True Lover's Knot, the Old Lady, Dr. Viridana, which is a reference to Tortrix moth. But yeah, there's nothing. I'm not sure to hit the audience over the head with anything.
Okay. How did you choose the actresses Sides, Bebe, Cruzden, and Clara Dana for the two main roles?
Well, Chiara was quite easy because I worked with her on my second film. So I think she had the right voice I needed and the right look. I knew about her a little bit, but not so much. And it was more of I guess it was more Shaheen Baig, who was the casting director, who suggested I contact her. So luckily, God knows why, but she said yes to the script. And it kind of went from there, really. And I'm very glad she said yes. That's all I can say.
Yes, it's a good choice for the movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, what can you say about your collaboration with the alternative pop duo Cat's Eyes?
Well, I think they just had the right sensibility. I think given their different backgrounds with classical music and rock and roll, and they played many instruments, which is always good. I think we don't use computers so much, and this needed to be something quite physical as a soundtrack. So I think the three of us agreed that if we could pick one instrument that we don't hear so much, but we used to hear a lot in the 70s, that would be the oboe. And woodwind in general, I think the strings tend to we associate strings with classical, with film soundtracks. But, so I think it's bringing back the flute, the oboe, and yeah, there were references, but I think the band quite rightly tried to sort of steer it away from those references and push it in this other direction. I think as long as it had the same emotional pull that I needed, then that was fine.
In each of your movies, the sound takes an important place. You look to have this kind of fascination for music and the sound. Can you talk about this importance and how did you work on this?
Sorry, could you repeat?
In each of your movies, the sound takes an important place. You look to have this kind of fascination for music and the sound. Can you talk about this importance and how did you work on this?
Well, this one we actually did less. It still involved a lot of work.
Okay.
If you look at what we did on Pro Tools, it's actually quite empty. But that was a lot of work just to take sounds away from the mix. So I didn't want the sound to dominate the film. I think it's that would just be drawing attention to ourselves. So we tried to make it very sensual, of course, but also quite, what's the word? Discreet, I think, is the word. And also when we have the insects, we didn't want to we didn't want to use any kind of effects on the insects. Just let them exist as they are. We do a tiny bit of manipulation or multi-tracking, but so it's more about choosing things. There are many field recordings, and just choosing the right ones and making them sit correctly. I guess it's like doing a mixtape, really. It's just, yeah.
This film shows what happens when one person tries a strong relationship. There is a dominant butterfly, Professor Cynthia, and this soul-message housekeeper, Evelyn. Why this chooses our character, and for you this kind of relationship is a masochist or sadist? How did you interpret this relation between these two women?
Well, I think it was interesting just to see how the whole paradox of a submissive person being dominant, which I hadn't seen before in a film. I'm sure there is a film out there, but I just haven't seen that film. So that was quite interesting for me, and I just think it's a very theatrical game they're playing, which is great for someone like me. And you can explore all these ideas about how profound performance is for someone's sexual excitement, that giving a back rub itself that's a neutral thing for Evelyn. What's exciting about the back rub is Cynthia being in the right outfit and commanding Evelyn to give a back rub. When Cynthia please can have a back rub when she's in pain and wearing her pajamas, Evelyn is not interested. So it is the performance which is the interesting thing, and the fear of performance for Cynthia as well, the anxiety of being on stage, which is a terrifying thing for me anyway.
Of course. What was the part of improvisation and script modification during the set?
I think improvisation was mainly taking words away from the script, realizing we don't need them. Movement was a big part, body language was a big part, the camera was a huge part. I think a lot of the camera stuff you see was improvised. The actual words which are there are pretty much as I remember, pretty much as they were when I wrote the script. But other things I remember with the carpenter scene when she measures the bed, that was scripted. Then when we rehearsed it, we realized we actually don't need it, so we just put a big cross and that was done.
As for your precedent film, Berberian Sound Studio, you use the same process of repetition to those ordinary and repetitive life of these two characters. But this time, it can also illustrate the psychological mind of these two persons. Can you talk about that?
Repetition?
Yeah, repetition of life.
Life, well, I don't know about that, but in the film what I find fascinating is that the audience's perspective is what changes it. The repetition is the same, the dialogue is exactly the same, but what's different about it is your understanding. Your understanding is developing, so the context is changing. So when you see Evelyn being forced to wash Cynthia's lingerie, it's you feel sorry for Evelyn. But when you see it the second time, you feel sorry for Cynthia forcing her, being forced to force her. So really, it was about that. Really, just exploring, modulating these repetitions somehow. They kind of, I mean, that's what they do. You know, I think that's what any couple. Well, I'm not a lifestyle. What's the word? Sex coach is that what they call them? You know, if you kiss someone, you're going to kiss them again. I mean, what the sexual acts people do tend to be, I don't know how many, 4 or 5 things, and they're just done again and again and again and again. I think with Evelyn and Cynthia, it's a bit more exotic, perhaps, but it's perhaps boring to watch, but it's not boring for those characters. Well, actually, it's not true. It's boring for Cynthia because she's not into it, but not for Evelyn.
Can you talk about the creative process concerning the long scene with all these butterflies? That is the end of this movie.
Well, that was a company called Jellyfish that did those. When we shot it, it was just a plate. Evelyn walking on the corridor. It's a company in London called Jellyfish. They filled it with moths, basically. So we started off with old ladies at the beginning, old lady moths. I like them not only because of the name, but also because they're very dull in colour. And I think the danger with cinema is to have very colourful moths, and I didn't want to go in that direction. I wanted them to resemble television static, the old analogue television, when they fill the frame. But then other species come in, different hawk moths come in close up. So I think we just chose the moths. They would actually design each moth. I mean, once you had one, then it's quite easy to just duplicate them. And then just getting the movement right. The sound was done by Michael Prime. That's actually adult silkworm moths mating. It's Bombix mori is the scientific name. That's a recording I heard 12 years ago. And we wanted it to be as it was. We did a tiny bit of multi-tracking. It's such a remarkable sound. We don't need to do any kind of manipulation to it.
What kind of difficulties have you met during the shooting of this movie? A lot, maybe, or maybe certain difficulties?
Getting out of bed. It's always the worst.
Okay.
Like this morning.
Sometimes difficult.
Like every day. Yeah. I don't like getting out of bed.
Your film can be seen as a gothic fairy tale and can have its place into sexploitation category. What do you like in this film's category?
I guess I like sleaze a lot. I'm quite drawn to it. I like fantastical things. I think anything which has something exotic about it. I've never been a big fan of social realist cinema. I love Franju, le Jour sans visage. Excuse my French.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
It's
okay,
it's a masterpiece.
English.
Yeah, no, it's I'm in your country. I should be speaking French, but it's, so I don't know why, but I guess I'm drawn to those things. Maybe I need to see a psychiatrist. I don't know why. But,
Okay. Did you create a backstory for these two main characters? No.
No, none at all. That was very important for me. It's a game that had been done before, again and again in films. So and so, masochist, self-harming, this and that, and had a difficult childhood, and I don't know. I'm not into that process. I think for me, here are a couple who have very different ways of expressing themselves when it comes to desire, and the question is how? How do you navigate that? How do you negotiate? Who should be doing the compromise? So that's what's important for me. The backstory is just not relevant at all.
Okay.
Not great for actors to hear that.
Good. Why did you make this movie, and how did you choose this host to decide the action of this movie?
Sorry, can you...
Where did you make this movie? In which country, for example?
Where?
Which place? The studio, its natural place, and how did you choose the house for this movie?
Well, we shot it in Hungary. All ready-made, not ready-made, existing locations, and the house was empty. It was more than empty, if you can say that. It was kind of filthy. No, I wouldn't say filthy, but it needed some cleaning up.
Okay.
We had a really good team. We had a company called Pioneer who service films. They co-produce as well, and they know Hungary inside out, so they would just take me to different places, and I'd have a choice. Decide which one works the most.
Which are your current projects?
Current?
Yeah, current, sorry.
I just haven't had time because I've been writing this film. If I write, I need at least a month of clean, uninterrupted time, because I think writing, you need to get into a zone. I can't. Other people can do this, but I can't break that spell. I need to stay in the zone. If I interrupt it, it takes me ages to get back into it. So I just haven't had for the last, since the film opened, I haven't had a clean month to just concentrate. I don't know, I mean, there's some things I want to try. I know that, I've been trying different things, but it's just been a few paragraphs here and there. It's just, it's all I've had time for, really.
What is your most important accomplishment to this date? Good question.
Planted a hawthorn when I was a kid,
Okay.
and it still exists. That's pretty important. I love hawthorns. They're like the greatest shrubs in British soil. Yeah. Planting trees, well, it's not really a tree, it's a shrub. Yeah. Planting things is always a good accomplishment. Yeah.
And my last question, what kind of advice could you give to someone who would like to work as a director?
Get a fucking lawyer.
Okay. Why? Explain.
Obvious reasons. I don't know. I mean, I've made many mistakes. I still make mistakes. And, I don't feel qualified. I've had 16 years of very bad luck. I've been doing this 21 years now.
Okay.
5 years of good luck and 16 years of bad luck. So I don't feel qualified to. I've been very lucky at the moment, of course, but I think what people in their 20s have, what I didn't have, was digital. When I did a short film, it really cost money. It really cost money. But now you can try things and you make mistakes without suffering too badly. When we made mistakes in 16mm, that's 6 months working in an office to pay off the debts. Now you pay 1 week. 1 week in an office is all you get.
Thank you very much.